Hi everyone, I'm Yeojin Kim, working on VR UX design. And I'm really too happy to share our stories around designing VR applications. Before starting the session, I would like to talk about some short story. Before joining the VR project, I and our team members were mobile designers. We designed several mobile applications and were sort of some experts on designing screen layout and UX suitable for mobile devices which have a tiny or small and static screen. And sorry, it was so kind of nervous, but then this is the first point of our story. And second is that many of you may be familiar with these mobile applications or VR games. But how about VR applications such as browsing media content or websites inside the VR environment? Today, with this session, I would like to share what our VR UX team has gone through for years, including some lessons, what we've learned from converting mobile design to VR, and setting several basic design principles for VR apps, and defining related design patterns, and how can we use them to our apps. And I believe that mobile designers and developers will find several insights with various real examples. And the rest of this presentation, you will really find that how can we adjust the design principle and patterns to the real apps which we made. First one is Samsung Internet for VR, and next one is Samsung Gallery for VR. First, let me show you a graph. We investigate the actual usage rate of Gear VR last year. Even if the overall sellout of Gear VR has been steadily increased, the percentage of people who actually use the device at least once a week has been decreased in contrast. So depressing, but that was true. However, we could solve it in a certain way. So how can we increase the actual usage? Based on the market feedbacks, our device should have more attractive content or higher device performance to provide more immersive experience to our users. And because this is the UX session, we will focusing on the last topic, make VR UX better than now. To find the right thing to do, we are looking at two perspectives. What our users have as pain points on using the device. Secondly, how we, VR designers, can solve it with the design products. So we need to find their pain points and review the entire design process, what we've been using for several years from the beginning. Okay, from now on, I will show you some pain points from our users. People who bought Gear VR just expect a new and different experience than mobile. Of course, our device provides a sense of immersion for them. But high expectation led to great disappointment. When we checked the reason why they didn't use the device after purchasing it, most of them told that it caused some motion sickness when using the device. And the weight of the Gear VR, it caused some pain in the user's neck or shoulder. Moreover, when the user using the device for a long time, it made the smartphone get hot or make the battery drain so quickly. VR designers also their own problem. With nearly a decade of releasing billions of mobile apps, many design guidelines have been set for mobile UX. However, when we started designing VR apps, we didn't have enough knowledge of VR or 3D space. So we had no choice but to follow the traditional way of design, UX design in mobile devices. And a lot of unexpected problems occurred with this process. First, even if someone had a nice idea for VR app, it was really hard to execute the concept. Second, UI designers design the screen layout as 2D, and visual designers sketch it and convert it into 3D. And this also can cause some miscommunication. And these were the major factors that deteriorate the overall quality of VR UX. We have set an ultimate goal of improving the entire VR UX because we are VR UX designer and various innovations based on the pain points. First, we have changed the design process between designers and developers by communicating by Unity-based prototypes. Second, we set some kind of VR-dedicated design principles for non-gaming apps. Third, we defined several practical design guidelines and applied them to our apps. Okay, through the VOC from the VR designers, we found several problems on this existing VR design process. From now on, I will introduce how we could change the way to design for VR applications. Now we see the history on VR application. 2 years ago, at the very beginning stage of design VR apps, we just followed the conventional way of mobile UX design. After some ideation, UI designers sketched the screen layout by 2D, and visual designers sketched it and converted it into 2D graphic resources using 2D design tools like Photoshop or Illustrator or something like that. After that, we released the official UX spec for developers to implement the design concept. But with this progress, no matter how brilliant idea we had, it was really hard to implement it because communication error in every single design stage or misunderstanding of the design concept. Unfortunately, we repeated these progress over and over again. It really took a long time to make a single application in VR environment. The problem was that we shouldn't follow the traditional way of UX design. As you see here, every single designer in our team tried to draw 3D surface with 2D design tools. We really need a new design tool and method for designing VR application, indeed. So we made several different versions of Unity prototypes for a single concept and tried to find our internal designers' responses and found some optimal value for the given concept. But unlike mobile devices, VR screen is just for the users themselves who are wearing the HMD and it cannot be shared to the others. And many people in charge of designing or developing VR apps are suffering that they had no idea what the users are currently seeing and why they feel so uncomfortable with a certain point. So we utilize Chromecast for mirroring the VR screen and found several insights and problems during this internal test phase. As I explained so far, those internal tests with rapid prototyping were conducted prior to releasing official UX specs and implementing the related features. You can see the entire design process has been simplified than the previous one described on the bottom of the screen. Just like I said at the beginning of this presentation, our team has established several basic principles for non-gaming VR application. From now on, I will explain which principle can be applied to the applications. If someone say virtual reality, many of you just associate it with game platform, especially VR games like shootings or racings mimic the real 3D world. So it means it is regarded as content to be experienced, and it is composed of 3D objects to provide more realistic experience to our user. On the other hand, other applications which we are focusing now are showing some information or data to be browsed or consumed. So it means that all main components don't need to be 3D objects. For non-gaming apps in VR environments, we defined 3 major ground rules of UX design. First, familiarity. Second, comfort. And third, performance. Of course, these 3 major factors may be so obvious for the general UX design, but still, these principles were clearly simple ground rules for designing non-gaming apps in VR environments. From now on, I will explain each example with brief examples, each principle with brief examples. Familiarity. Let's suppose that the user is in the whole different space than they have never experienced before. Then, in this case, how can we guide the user to the right thing or doing them properly? Since in this case, users might feel more comfortable or familiar with the UI, which is similar with mobile devices, because everyone uses the mobile phone. Well, maybe more immersive UX design would be essential to VR in the near future. But as of now, I just think that we should focus on inducing the mobile user to encounter more familiar VR space. You can see some examples of overall menu structures and screen layouts are oriented in the mobile devices. This is photo view. In Samsung, we call this gallery. This is phone side gallery, and we convert it to VR space. You may feel familiar with those screen layouts and the structure, like this. Moreover, you don't need to struggle with providing some device settings in VR. just like quick panels, you can draw some rectangle on the space and just put anything you want to show or provide to the user inside the box. Next principle is comfort. When we designed mobile applications, we really needed to squeeze all UI components into a static, very limited, and small display. So when we meet the new world at VR, we was really excited to have unlimited space. So we tried to put all available UX components everywhere in 360 view. But unfortunately, human is not an eagle. An eagle can see it's around, even it's behind, but we can't. So this is so essential to minimize the head rotation of the user and arrange UI components from right side to left side to guide the head rotation horizontally rather than up and down side. As I said, we conducted tons of internal tests and finally found the optimal FOV, field of view, value, and jet depth value from the eyes. It means that all main UI components should be arranged within around 95 degrees and 5 meters of jet depth from the eyes. I just talk about the physical comfort of the user. At first, we try to fill the entire space with vivid, bold, or shiny images, but this really made our user feel easily tired, and our user cannot concentrate on the content. So it is necessary not to provide our users their physical comfort, but also offering them some kind of a peace of mind. And this is so essential because the user is wearing the HMD, and this situation makes our user feel uncomfortable. To provide some emotional comfort to our user, basically we used dark and natural theme to the background and UX components. And to make the user more concentrate on the contents, we avoided any moving objects near the main screen area. We call this as rest frames. Also, our UX does not provide any visual objects which rotate or accelerate X, Y, or Z axis regardless of user's will. This also can be reduced some motion sickness of the user, and we minimize changes in Z axis to reduce in changes of eye focusing. We do not provide any visual object that are too close to the eyes. That's why we try to keep 5 meters as the affordable jet depth value from the eyes for our entire app screen. Next thing is performance. People may expect some splendid visual effect in VR, but unlike PC VR devices, Gear VR just use system resources from mobile. While designing the applications for our own devices, we should consider the device performance as one of high priorities and aim to simplify the UX. But as the screen is designed concisely as much as possible, the space can be felt as monotonous. So we wanted to give some vitality to the design with appropriate visual effects. Now, if you concentrate on the left side, you may see the tiny shooting star. These are some examples of providing efficient visual effect regarding the optimizing the device performance. So we provide some simple and tiny and cute animation like this shooting stars or bonfire effect used the skybox background. It not only performs the performance, but also providing some emotional happy of our user. And from now on, I will introduce some design patterns and tips that can be used to non-gaming VR applications based on the design principles defined before. Non-gaming apps such as photo viewer, internet browser, or media player can be designed in an adaptive way for the form factor of the device. You can see every menus are optimized for the form factor that Samsung made. Then, what about VR? Which design patterns and layouts can be optimized for our users? From now on, I will explain you guys 4 sample design patterns. First, pane layout. Second is hover interaction. Third, scroll bar, using scroll bar. And the last, raycast and reticle for the controller. Pane layout is the default canvas for displaying UX components on VR space. Since the actual size of VR is really huge than you may expect it, you can imagine magnifying the screen size to the screen size of IMAX theater. So flat pane maybe looked more convex than expected. It was like seeing the screen by wearing fisheye lens. So we slightly curved the screen, which the pane will be arranged like this, and divided this screen into several panes by its functions. In this case, we use 2 panes. First is for displaying a list of folders, and second is we just call this main pane in this screen, and it shows its media, stored media and video and photo contents. One more important thing is that you need to place the main pane, shown like this, on the center of the screen. It means that the center pivot of VR screen should be located within the middle of main pane, not in the entire pane layout. So you need to aware of putting your main pane on the center of the screen. Unlike mobile devices, you can make the best use of hover interaction. This is not used not only for reversing the background color of the buttons, but also providing some detailed, brief information, just user doing something. Because the loading progress is quite longer in VR than mobile side, it is so important to provide and give some hints what will be happen next before the user doing something. I will share some our examples Like this, you may use some moving thumbnails when user point out his controller one of the thumbnail, or contents could be some brief information when they are focusing on, like this. And these make the UX more simple. Next thing is scroll bar. In case of mobile devices, to navigate among a large amount of the screen, the user just flick their fingers on the screen like this. And this is so natural interaction in devices if they had touchable display. Of course, this interaction can be used in VR space, but other alternative can be better solution. I will show some examples of using scroll bar to our apps. You can attach some brief information on the scroll bar so that the people can easily access photos at a certain period by manipulating the scroll bar, or find some apps by just clicking one of initial of the application. The final thing is Reticle and Reticle. This interaction is very useful for controller in VR space. Many of you might be familiar VR space already, but I think that some of you do not have knowledge about what is Reticle and Reticle. So I will show what is Reticle and Reticle. You can see the straight rate of Reticle, and the end of the Reticle, the Reticle will be shown. As you see, this is so straight, and this is so common in VR spaces. But when the user interacts with visual object in the space, providing some appropriate feedback enhances the UX, and this is so essential. So we changed our Reticle and Reticle like this, such as a magic flashing road instead. This curved Reticle and magnetic Reticle really obviously improved the handling of the controller, especially in case of manipulating some objects minorly, and let our users feel as if they were manipulating the real object, like this. You can find it can be used on the stick bar in a mobile media player like this. So far I shared our experience how we, mobile designers, set VR dedicated design process, principles, and some sample design patterns. And I would like to finish this session with some case studies, how we refined those two applications, Samsung Internet for VR, Samsung Internet for VR, and next one is Samsung Gallery for VR. When we designed this app at first, we seemed to have to use all available space of VR world. So this is why we spread all available internet browser in 360 way. But to open the web view at the same time, it really causes some performance degradation. And at this time, we did not provide any controller, so the user really needs to turn his head like this, or swiping on the touchpad continuously to see the web contents opened behind him. So in next version, we reduced the FOV by the optimal value and grouped several similar features and divided the screen by panes. But you can find that still the pane is flat. So with the new design principle and patterns, we slightly curved the entire apps like this and tried to show some shortcuts of web media so that the user can easily navigate the sea of the contents in more immersive and intuitive way. You can see the demo outside in this room, so you can visit Samsung Internet booth as well. Then, what about Samsung Gallery VR? Since we designed this application, this gallery app, several months later of first release of Samsung Internet VR. So you can find this app. This is the initial version of Samsung Gallery VR, but this has more narrow FOV, and all photos and videos are shown in a single curved pane. At first, we thought that we need to show as many contents as possible at the same time. So you can see the pane was too wide and too close to the eyes. If someone may say, oh, this is pretty good enough, but we didn't think so. We used this app hundreds of times and found some UX problems. Unlike the web browsers, photos and videos of the phone are stored in various folders. So we realized that we should refer the overall screen layout of mobile gallery app for content browsing. So we reduced the FOV again, as well as Samsung Internet VR, and show media contents and the folders that the media contents are stored at the same time. And I will show some details of, some brief of our next version of Samsung Gallery for VR. We try to show many contents as much as possible again, but still keeping narrow FOV and feel our user more comfortable way. Well, I show you the entire screenshot that I shared so far so that you can see the evolution of our app at a glance. And as we have done so far, we will continue to make every effort to improve UX of VR app made by Samsung. For next year, we are working on developing our studies presented today and releasing the results for Samsung or outside designers and developers so that they can refer it and releasing their own non-gaming VR apps. Although people's interest on VR domain seems not to be what it used to be. But as VR UX designers, I and our team members do our best to make VR environment better with more engaging, fun, and 360 contents. And also, we will make great effort not to let our user disappoint from motion sickness or device overheat, and try to make our user happier with our design products. You can see one of VR products on third floor phone case VR. I think this is one of our best practice to enhance our own strength as phone manufacturer. You can see hundreds of mobile labs are shown in a VR space, just keeping their own app screen. So please visit after this session and do something on the VR. And lastly, I really hope that you guys, it was so helpful to you guys, and you will refer these our experiences for your non-gaming apps, even for some game apps in VR. Thank you for attending. If you have any questions, yeah, please. Thank you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we can adjust this principle case by case, but for other content browsing app, such as photo viewer or even internet browser, can be oriented in the form of mobile devices. But others, such as, what about media player, can be more larger and thrill-like to provide more immersive experience, because people may expect that more larger screen size for appreciating some video content. So in our gallery app, we try to keep the over screen layout familiar with mobile site, but we also provide a huge screen for the video content or photo content, for giving them more excited in VR environment. So is it? Yeah, for you? So, okay.
This one? Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed your session. I have a question. So I think in general, all the apps, as you said, have gone very dark, and it's like dark background, and all the text, it's like a dark background with white text on top. So it doesn't make it feel very playful or bright or kind of fun. It feels just very serious. What have you guys looked into making your apps a little bit more playful, or what have you found?
Yeah, the initial version of you can find our internet app. Yeah, this is the very initial version of Samsung Internet, but we really try to make the background more brighter and some kind of artificial effects using as in this screen. But the purpose of our application was that concentrate on the content, not the background. So that was why we just used some dark theme, and so that the users can see the content, not appreciating the skybox background. So, and with this design, as I mentioned before, the user might feel some fatigue with this bright and shiny images. So you can try to provide some joyful and playful background, but you need to consider the purpose of the application. And okay,
Thanks
I have 1 minute.
I'll try and keep. It was a great talk, thank you. And I wondered if you had any tips from you and your team's experience using Unity as a prototyping tool for rapidly prototyping in Unity.
Well, in fact, we are the very beginning stage of prototyping by Unity. We just make the scene, just put some UI components for the space, and we just built it into APK type, and we just try to install it and just put the HMD and see what's going to happen. But next year, maybe next year, we can share more detailed experience on prototyping by Unity or other 3D proper design tools. So please expect for next year's session. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so.
I mean, setting up the UI and the interaction.
One thing you could use, there's a broad, an actual browser-based VR element design tool. Google kind of open source. I forget what it's called. I'm going to pull up my thing. We just did a thing with them at Mozilla last week. So they're real-time rendering elements where you can actually, in the browser tool, you look at it. Actually, I'm trying to remember the name. I'm going to pull it up because I have the stream. Yes, that's it. Yeah. And then there's also another tool with it where people post a lot of elements. So the performance is so good, the reason it was in Mozilla is they're using WebVR in the browser and WebGL. Right. And they can get and render faster just out the browser elements that you can literally not have to just write the code for it. You can actually move them around and build and then save out as modular elements and test. So you don't have to just use an SDK. I mean, they're good for people who are software people. People really just building in elements and want to test interactive elements in the browser, which is the dominant OS in the world right now, even if you're in mobile using WebView or iframe stuff. Yeah, and you literally can do it right away. And there's a whole rich component ecosystem. It's really something I would say for people if you want to look at the link, I put a Periscope up on it, Women of Web VR. There's a hashtag for Mozilla, and it's really good. I saw them when they first launched at the HTML5 meetup at Google San Francisco. It's really some groundbreaking tools because we all know most of the stuff we have to do shims for and connect and build. And one of the things they showed, if you watch the stream, is you can actually drop in video as an orientation panel streamed in. So that means you could drop in, yeah. So, I was going to ask, and I know it's kind of a crazy question, but I got here late. Is there a place for the presentations and stuff? Because I missed everything. Is there a link for the presentations?
Oh, do I need to give some answer for your question?
Yeah, that's why I answered. Yeah. Which one? Okay, yeah. So, so they'll be posted later, and the presentations too. All right, cool. Thank you.
So I'm going to finish this session. So if you still have some questions about this topic, you can email me. Oh, sorry. You can email me described in this slide like this. Thank you for attending, and really appreciate to concentrating my presentation.